Welcome back. Christine Wormuth is officially the Secretary of the Army now after a blip in the radar screen on Wednesday. And 3 Biden administration nominees are closer to taking their seats in the Pentagon, too. Sharon Burke is senior advisor at New America. She's former Assistant Secretary of Defense for Operational Energy Plans and Programs. Bill Greenwalt is visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. He's former Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Industrial Policy. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining me. Sharon, you first. Frank Kendall's nomination to be Air Force Secretary got a lot of attention this week. We did not hear as much about the nominations of Heidi Shu and Susanna Bloom. Why are their jobs important, and why are they important people for the department right now, Sharon?
So with Heidi Shu, it's really interesting. During her hearing, she talked a lot about the valley of death. And in the commercial sector, we're talking about the valley between innovation and commercialization. But in recent years in the Department of Defense, it's been a valley between research and engineering and acquisition and sustainment, or between Ellen Lord and Mike Griffiths. So Heidi Shu has to come in and figure out how to fix that, because innovation is going to be absolutely key to the next administration. And she's the right person to do this. You know, she came out of the Army as the Chief Acquisition and R&E, Research and Engineering and Logistics executive, and has really deep experience in the private sector. By personality, too, she's known as just a good manager and a good people person, and that's exactly what they need to cross that valley of death.
Sharon, Susanna Bloom at CAPE, also a very important job.
You know, I think back to when Secretary Gates was in office and he had Christine Fox running CAPE. CAPE is one of those sleeper organizations that people outside the Pentagon don't know that much about, but it can really rule that building and is the go-to place. Under Christine Fox, that's what it was. And I think you're going to see that again under Susanna Bloom. She is so smart, and she's going to have like the scalpel and the hammer in her hands and wield them really well, because this is going to be a very challenging budget environment to fund new programs and to take a whack at legacy programs and keep Congress happy. And she's really a sharp customer. She'll do a great job in that job.
Bill, welcome. It's great to see you. In addition to your time in the Pentagon, you're also a veteran of the Senate Armed Services Committee. These 3 nominees that we saw this week, your take, they're pretty much locked in for nomination, or for confirmation, right?
Yeah, I think all 3 of them did the most important thing to do in the confirmation hearing, and that's not to make any mistakes. And they essentially got through that with flying colors. We don't see any other issues that are cropping up. So I think that just have to take the time, the way the Senate moves through it, for them to actually be finally confirmed.
What do you see, Bill, as next on tap for the nomination process, or for that committee in particular? We talked not too long ago, you and I did, on this program, about basically the hold that Senator Reid, the chairman of the committee, put on the National Defense Authorization Act process for this exact purpose, to get nominations through.
No, I think the issue is going to be the process itself for nominating and getting through FBI background checks and all these things. It takes time. And so they've got some time right now to move through. They don't have the number of the nominations that they need. And so I assume at some point they're going to flip back into the NDA process and move forward.
I want both of you to take me back into your processes, into your histories in the department. Sharon, you first. These 3 nominees, as Bill said, headed for confirmation. They'll go back to the building. They've all been there before. What's the first week like? What do you do to get yourself acclimated to, or what does one do to get oneself acclimated to being back in that environment, Sharon?
Well, I think, as you said, all 3 of these nominees have very deep experience in the building. So it'll be easy for them to hit the ground running, as you say. But the first thing they're going to do is get to know their teams and get up to date on the issues. And I think for Ms. Bloom in particular, that should be easy, because she's been helping out with some of these issues anyway. And for her, it's imperative, because, of course, the budget's going to come out today. So her life is going to go crazy from the minute she sets a foot in that building. So I hope she's catching up on her sleep right now.
Bill, what's your advice list for folks, as not just these 3 nominees, but other folks as they head back to the building for the first time in a certain period of time?
Try to read as much as possible before you get in there, because you'll never have time to do that. And try to focus on 3 things and identify what those are before you go in, because those are probably the three things that you can actually try to get done. The rest of the time, you're going to deal with what is put in place in front of you.
Bill Greenwalt, Sharon Burke, a wonderful conversation. Thanks very much, as always, for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Great to be with you.